Yeah, well, my dad, he drives a bigger truck than your dad, and he can lift 200 more pounds than your dad. And
Kenneth, don't lie to me. Your dad hasn't come home in 8 years. Welcome to the Circle Podcast. I'm Brandon Wright,
and I'm kind of
who
Lee.
doesn't have a dad. Now let's talk about what genres and movies
Way to
we
alienate
love.
half our audience. I'm assuming. I don't know.
Let's
We're gonna be talking about genres as a whole, movie genres, and why we like them, why we get excited when we see a movie trailer that's in that genre. Brandon's having a little brain freeze, so I'll start off. I really like post-apocalyptic movies, just because there's such a whiplash of how in these movies, right? It shows just how far humanity and society can collapse, right? To create these post-apocalyptic scenes, and then these post-apocalyptic scenes are pretty usually visually interesting.
Yeah, but I feel like whenever you say the word post-apocalyptic, the first thing that comes into a lot of people's minds are zombies.
Zombies,
And that needs to die.
no.
I know what you meant,
That's
but
a different
when you
genre.
said post-apocalyptic, like, man, Kenneth really loves zombie movies. No, I'm pretty sure Kenneth's like talking like dystopian. I can see you like in a game called BioShock.
Kind of, yeah. Like I like Mad Max. I also like the Road, which is a really bleak post-apocalyptic movie starring the guy Aragon from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I'll be honest. That was probably my least favorite movies of last year.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I brought it up on the podcast.
I think it came out in 2000. Oh, you're talking about Mad Max.
I'm talking about the one that came out last year.
Yeah, Mad Max.
I don't like Fury Road.
You don't? It's basically one long chase scene.
Yeah, and it's really, I don't feel any kind of sympathy or anything for any of the characters. Yeah. And when I left, I don't know.
Yeah, the characters are just broad archetypes.
Yeah.
But for the setting up the stage for the action, it's really just all about how marvelous those scenes are.
Those car scenes and
those
the guy
car
playing.
Scenes.
But okay, we don't want to get too far off.
But yeah, I also like how in such a desperate setting for despair, our post-apocalyptic movies are usually about hope, right? Which I think that's really cool. It's a nice contrast. I mean, you got Book of Eli, you have The Road, Mad Max to an extent. Yeah, I think that's neat. Yeah.
I've got a genre that I wish would come back more. Like we always will have scary movies, and they will always be rated B or like B-rated films.
Mm-hmm.
Not that much budget put into it most of the time, probably, unless you have a lot. Unless you're a Cabin in the Woods.
Or Scream.
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods was really good.
I've heard. I have not watched it.
You have not seen it?
I have not.
I will lend you the DVD.
Amazing things. Yeah. It's on Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix too? Yeah.
But I wish we had more creepy films. Like, I hate to say it because it was trying to be, I guess, a horror flick, but I didn't see it. Like, The Babadook. Have you heard of that?
Never heard of it.
It's like, it's a more indie horror film that's on Netflix right now. But, I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
But it's more creepy, and I get more scared by creepiness than gore and just jump scares, which that has become extremely oversaturated. And the last good horror film I've seen in a while is You're Next, and that's more of a comedy. It wasn't advertised as a comedy, but when you got in the theater, you start to notice these things.
Yeah.
But
oh, okay. I was gonna say. It's interesting that you brought up horror films because on the opposite end of the spectrum are romantic comedies, right? And is that fair to say?
I believe they're completely opposite.
Yeah, but kind of similar when you think about it.
And if you've watched our... we don't want to dawdle too much about rom-coms because we've talked like a whole other podcast about it. You can go check out our Valentine's Day type episode for that. But in the end, like we've summed up, I believe that Kenneth is really into rom-com movies, and I am really into rom-com anime.
Yeah. Well, one thing I was going to mention is how in horror movies, even if it's a B horror movie, right, you can still say that throughout all these different horror movies, they keep coming up with new ways to kill people, for new ways for people to die.
I feel like that's a trend we're going down.
Yeah.
And You're Next, the horror film I referred to earlier, does do that, but it makes fun of itself doing that. It's like, did you see that?
Self-aware.
That was so cool, right? It was such a good self-aware movie, but it's kind of sad too because that's what it's like. And I know there are always going to be those movies like Saw that's like, let's see how we can kill someone and torture them. But I'd rather have like a BioShock like story where like it's something unique. It's a unique premise. Like to explain like really quickly, it's like a man who doesn't know where he is, but a plane crashes like right along like a lighthouse island, climbs up, goes inside a ship or whatever, and goes into a utopia underwater. But everyone's already dead, and so it's like a mystery. That's cool, right? That seems like a cool premise. We don't really get those nowadays.
No.
Not really. We just get like, oh, do you see that man outside the house staring at us? What should we do? Let's just eat popcorn and watch Gilmore Girls or something like that. But I know we are not going to talk about this genre that much, but it's not my favorite, but it's so in the media now, and I do enjoy the subject matter. Comic book movies.
Comic book movies.
We're not gonna talk too much about it. We just got done with a podcast about it. But in the end, it's like it's not my favorite genre by any means because it leads to less development, and I always love in development of characters more than the action, which is why Ant-Man was so good to me. But
you know what I miss? I miss westerns.
Oh, those are dead.
Yeah, they're dead, but I miss them. I think they're cool.
Yeah, the last Western, if you could even call it a Western, was Seth MacFarlane's.
Oh, no, that's sad.
Was that a bad movie? I never saw it.
It's so bad.
Oh, man. It's like the guy from Family Guy took a 30-minute Family Guy movie and made it an hour and a half.
Yeah, but I miss a good Western. I think we had that movie with Johnny Depp and Armie Hammer about the cowboy and the Native American.
You talking about the Lone Ranger?
Yeah, the Lone Ranger, and that's the closest we got to a Western.
Was that good, by the way?
No, not really. They had a one really cool set piece with a train scene, but besides that, it was really overlong and wasted, and I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't remember that many Westerns. I think if you could count Rango as a Western, that might be one.
I like Rango.
That was a good movie.
Yeah. You know what's weird is that we don't get a lot of pirate movies anymore either.
That's because people wanted them dead. Ever since the first one. And remember in our sequels podcast, you were like, yeah, any Pirates of the Caribbean past the first one is really bad.
Oh, yeah, no. Pirates of the Caribbean should be a dead franchise.
Oh, they're making a sequel, by the way.
I know. It makes me sad. But pirate movies. You know what? I am down for pirate movies.
There's only so much you can do with them, though.
Oh.
Without deviating from what makes pirates pirates.
Yeah, but they're like westerns.
What about
you got
modern pirate movies? Like a bunch of Africans
that's
coast.
just really sad. That's not fun.
That's not a fun movie. Those are just people shooting people.
Yeah, that's
Yar me booty,
that's
right?
Because it's bad situations. Pirate movies are fun and they're
and you get prostitutes, but it's okay because you're in that era.
Because it's old timey and
a little rapey.
Yep.
Nope.
What do you think about you mentioned the zombie genre, and actually I think the last big zombie movie, I could be wrong, but the one that comes to mind is World War Z, right? I was driving with a roommate of mine, we were talking about it, and he really liked it, but he's not a big zombie movie fan, and I hated it because yes, you have amazing scenes, visual scenes, like a whole crowd of zombies climbing over the wall.
I thought that was cheesy. I laughed every time I saw that.
I think the scope of it was ambitious, but what I hate about it was how, zombie movie, it's like a Western, right? You always have a cowboy in a hat and a shootout, right?
A protagonist with long hair, a kind of beard, who's ready to fight the zombies.
Yeah. Zombie movies should have blood and gore, right? Because it's a zombie movie. And World War Z was rated PG-13 to appeal to as much of a big audience as they could. And so they never really lingered on those type of aspects. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I thought it was lacking because of it.
You know what I don't miss? robot, futuristic, campy movies. I don't know, like the movies that like just had a like average slice of life story in a futuristic setting.
You don't like that?
I hate to say like iRobot felt that way. It felt like a campy story in the future.
Yeah.
I don't remember that much of iRobot, but I remember it's like it felt very campy and weird.
Yeah. How did you feel about Her?
I remember the few months before it came out, I was pumped.
Yeah.
I do not remember it.
You don't.
I heard it was bad, apparently.
It's very mixed. I saw it with a group of people, and like literally like half the people hate it, half of them loved it when my friends.
Okay, are the people who said they hate it like man trying to date a robot? What? This ain't your dad's relationship.
I think they just couldn't get past the initial concept, but or the initial premise. But once you like understand that this is a futuristic setting. And that I think it's really interesting.
I wish they did make the guy look so pathetic. I hate to say that. I haven't seen the movie. I don't know if he's more than what they make him.
If they made him more conventionally attractive.
They made him look bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
But you're saying if he was more conventionally attractive, maybe
he wouldn't be flirting with a robot.
Yeah.
I'm like,
or maybe he still would, and we wouldn't judge it based off looks. Yeah.
That's something I had a problem with. I saw a trailer and it's just it's just a red background with his derpy face going like, but I was like, come on, God, that ain't cool. Like it could be just an average dude who's been attracted by it.
Joaquin Phoenix is really good looking. They did made him look really dorky.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, come on. It's like, oh, because he's the dork, he'll like stick his dick in anything. It's just...
Yeah.
Oh, way to go, team.
Yeah. But I did like Her. It was a futuristic setting. I mean, there's like a weird fashion. They had a weird fashion feature choice.
Not as weird as Deus Ex, but you haven't played those games.
I played Human Revolution.
You did?
Yeah.
That's such a good game.
It is. I'm
and
excited.
They have such weird outfits.
Yeah, I'm excited for
Mankind Divided.
Yeah, Mankind Divided. But anyways, Her.
We're getting too on a tangent.
I think it's an interesting way to explore love thematically. And with a talking robot phone. Yeah. But I think we covered a lot of different genres. You want to finish it up with music recommendations?
Oh, Christ. I can't
no.
I would recommend I was going to hold until next semester when they actually got some released music.
Uh-huh.
But if I could recommend a band to look out for, it's a band from Macon, Georgia.
Yeah.
Why'd you laugh, Kenneth? Macon is a perfectly valid city. But a band from Macon, Georgia called Conduit. They're a cool name. I only heard like a few smidges of their music, and none of it I think has been publicly released. But they do have a Facebook page. If you type in Conduit Macon, Georgia, it will probably pop up. Has a few buddies of mine in it, consisting of guys like cool friends of mine like Bren and them. Uh-huh. But I would recommend keeping up with them till they release the music, and I'll probably talk about them a little bit when they release their first album.
All right, cool. And I will recommend Noah Gunderson. Have you ever heard of him?
No, I haven't. I've heard the name before.
Yeah, he's really just fantastic folk singer, right? If you don't want to look through his all of his songs, just a few off of my head. Middle of June. Right, Poor Man's Soul. Uh-huh. Just typical folk song vibe. But yeah, that's it. We'll see you next week, or next week, or the week after next week. Neek.
Sure.
Yeah.
Love you all.